Yuki Tsunoda might be one of the most aggravated drivers of the grid proper now due to the reality, not first rate. Did he lose the advertising and marketing to Red Bull to Lawson? However, now he is also very near being changed in racing BLS, which would make his destiny in the sport a chunk more difficult than he should believe. However, Tsunoda has the backing of Honda, the team that partnered up with Aston Martin from 2026 onwards. And after the trendy announcement of Alonso the query, that we want to reply is, will the whole lot pan out the way that Tsunoda wishes? And what can he do in 2012-5 to show that he is a primary magnificence driver who desires a solid opportunity? One of the finest dilemmas has been began by means of the use of Red Bull, because the Austrian institution went on to sell Lawson, who has 11 races of Revel in, and misplaced the qualification duel to Tsunoda 6-0 within the 6 races, that they were teammates in 2024. Many have doubted this choice, and went on to say that it becomes Tsunoda the person who became purported to acquire the second seat next to Verstappen. And now, even worse statistics has come in the direction of Tsunoda Hell Marco, the person that's answerable for the freshman being promoted to Red Bull. From there, Academy has talked to Car Racer, an Italian media outlet, and stated that he is operating on a scenario in which he desires to promote the Reason Force, who's yet to stress an F2 race, Arvin Lindblad to Racing Bulls of Direction. You may evidently assume that that is awful information for Hare as properly, because it's not specific who will be replaced in the team, but after Hare's modern declaration that Tsunoda will no longer be receiving a merchandising and being within the sister crew for 5 years, simply would now not in shape suit we are able to count on in which this situation goes. Helmut Marko is the person that added names like Vettel Ricardo and Verstappen to the sport. And whether or not we adore him or now not, we cannot doubt his capability to understand abilities within the greater youthful training in advance this 12 months. Marko had masses of exceptional comments to mention about Lindblad, even going to the volume of pronouncing that if subsequent to Verstappen exists in the Racing International. This is surely Arvin elaborating on his skills, Helmer added. So basically it's Miles, a exquisite delight and enjoyment to work with Max. However, Max might not pressure all of the time, particularly not as long as Alonso or Hamilton are doing, and the junior team prospect is to locate new competencies. And we are not searching out a new Max, we are searching out a new champion. And I think the subsequent one that appears, without a doubt promising, is Arvin Lindblad. His father is Swedish, and his mother is Indian, so it's a completely visible combination. What makes him high quality is his pure pace. In one of the Formula 3 races, he overtook 10 or 14 one-of-a-kind drivers in a single lap. He gained the race from being final in those complicated situations. Now, of course, Red Bull has been frightened a bit through the truth that they comprehend Max might not stay forever. 10 or 15 greater years in the game, especially no longer with their group if things hold the manner they will be going. Which might be the reason why they need to sell drivers from their academy and see who has the capability to take over the air from the 4-time global champion. What is thought for a truth is that Tsunoda hasn't met the criteria that has been set through Red Bull, and given the effects that he's proven on the track, we in reality haven't any idea what more he ought to have executed. A good way to get maintain of that seat, however, although HOA is adamant that there's simply no region for Tsunoda in Red Bull if something especially horrible could no longer display up with Lawson in a comparable style to Gasly again in 2019. So, at the same time as speaking approximately the destiny of Honda's protege, he went on to mention, Honda is a crucial accomplice for us, however. We're a purchaser of Honda, of course. We consult Honda in the choice making, and I am fine that they could have loved Yuki to have been the auto within the remaining year of their settlement with Red Bull Racing. But Honda is continuously refused to get involved within the motive pressures lineup. They have constantly left that desire, all of the manner, right down to the organization. We are acutely aware that if we're now not able to provide an opportunity for Yuki, in all honesty, this 365 days doesn't make sense. You can't have a caused pressure within the guide crew for 5 years. You understand, you cannot usually be the bridesmaid. You've got both were given to let. then pass sooner or later or have a study something special. The project of racing bows remains a very interesting query that would require a variety of investigation. They desired to be a bit separated from Red Bull and extra independent as a squad, however, as an alternative. They may be, though, relying heavily on giving the junior drivers seats and checking out their competencies earlier than they are dispatched to Red Bull. This is probably an extraordinary purpose for Koda, to head away the team and are looking for greener pastures elsewhere. And the paradox right here is that the pasture that he should possibly keep in mind for his career is properly inexperienced. Aston Martin's protection has stuck every person's attention, and with such lots of resources invested in the Silverstone facilities, similarly to the internal personnel like Nui Cardle, and Cover the organization is seeking to compete for the championship from 2012 to 2026 onwards. Sure, their expectation is to degree up the competitiveness in 2025 as nicely, but we do comprehend what the remaining purpose for Lawrence and the employer is due to the truth further. They have got an one-of-a-kind contract with Honda to supply them with engines from 2026 onwards. It really is the important thing story proper here for Koda's future with the Silverstone base squad, as Hare said. Despite the reality that Honda did not immediately intrude with Red Bull's lineup, they may be surely pushing closer to a scenario in which they may be prodigy, may want to have a seat to race. Obviously, that seat is now very appealing because they'll offer Aston Martin with engines, and the cutting-edge hints should rely heavily on this component of the auto, which offers Honda and Tsunoda a bit of leverage in this negotiation way. On pinnacle of that, Tsunoda's possibilities were further boosted through the reality that Alonso admitted he might be racing for one remaining time in 2026. Whilst talking approximately this, the two-time international champion said some issue that left a scar on many phone enthusiast hearts. But it is the hard reality we should face. We're not going to appearance in all of the time in this endeavor. Notwithstanding all the youngsters, he's proven during the past couple of years, even as talking about 2026 being his last 12 months in Formula 1. Alonso stated likely, or at the least to start with, 2026 goes to be my last season in Formula 1. Because of the truth, my settlement finishes at the give-up of 2026. So it's the time of handing over and the time of truth, a moderate expectancies. I will begin the season thinking like that for advantageous due to the fact I can't suppose an excessive amount of desperation into the destiny inside the suggest time. My cutting-edge settlement is for 2 extra years. With my age and my motivation, I don't know how it will be if the 2026 season is walking smoothly and we are having a tremendous time. And there can be opportunity to race one more wire. I might be open for positive. I will no longer close to the door ahead. However, I will not begin the season questioning that. I will take every race as though it is my ultimate one, and I will revel in each second. There are tons of stuff that desires to appear so as for Koda to be considered a valid candidate for the Aston Martin seat, due to the fact we have to not neglect that a driving force of Ben's quality might be available for the taking. As well, we don't have any concept what the present-day rules maintain, and right here is but some other paradox for Koda, the person who he changed into presupposed to be teammates with in Red Bull, may want to take his seat in Aston Martin in a totally weird turn of sports, but on the quit of the day, the high-quality loser right here would be Red Bull. Specifically, if Lawson's ego and ambitions do not coins in toward the relaxation of the grid. If this scenario does not appear, then Tsunoda can continuously hope for a slip-up from his now former teammate because of the reality Horner turned into, additionally adamant that if things do not pass properly with Liam, Yuki is going to be proper up there to choose out up where Liam couldn't take off. While speaking approximately this, Horner said, I expect Tsunoda may be very determined. He is aware of that. Things alternate right away. Who may have perception 9 months ago we is probably sitting here speaking about Liam Lawson being our using force for 2025 matters change brief on this agency, and Yuki is aware of that and knows that he desires to be the one demonstrating that he's the only knocking at the door of path this is. Very far-fetched, however. At this factor, Coda needs to preserve directly to the entirety he can due to the fact if the alternative for him is prepared, then perhaps the handiest step is a Hail Mary go with the flow, wherein he can be very close with Liam in a much less superior gadget to reveal to Red Bull that the necessities of Liam may be happy from his factorer. If a alternate is made inside the lineup while talking approximately Liam's expectations for 2025 Marco, fail to mince phrases and no matter the truth that he changed into the number one element for this promoting to take location inside the first place he is aware about what's at stake, the Constructors' Championship, as he said. Lawson ought to be interior 3/10 of max in each qualifying, and in the race that ought to be enough to get points for the Constructors' Championship. He have to additionally little by little increase his overall performance, if viable. With all of this in thoughts, what do you consider the complete Tsunoda scenario, and do you suspect there's a right danger wherein he will be replaced by means of Lindblad, further proving that Racing Bulls wants to stick their most essential and race with youngsters from Red Bull's academy entirely allow us to recognize within the feedback beneath? And in case you're interested in Hamilton's brand new statistics regarding his race engineer, make sure to click on at the video that is appearing on your show proper now.